Again, you've been watching some of the fanfare here in advance of the first public appearance by the new Pope, the new leader of the Catholic Church. I want to go back to Vatican analyst Christopher White, who is a Vatican correspondent for National Catholic Reporter. Thank you for staying with us. Can you talk about this moment for those people who have stood there in the bright sunshine all day waiting for this moment? What does that tell you about the health of the church that this new leader will take over?
You know, it's interesting, Lester. I'm standing here above St. Peter's Square, and I'm looking at images of people below praying very fervently, but also hearing joyful shouts already of Viva il Papa, long live the Pope. I think it just goes to show you how many people are invested in this moment without even knowing who's going to come out on that central balcony. And as someone who traveled all around the world with Pope Francis, it's really remarkable how many people are just in awe of the figure of the Pope and how much they are personally attached to this office. People of deep faith and people that are perhaps just curious or no faith at all. And I think that's why, you know, the expectation that we've had over the past 24 hours or so has had a lot more to do than just seagulls and white smoke. But I think it's because what they hope this person represents. And I think we'll get a clue as to who this person is in the next few minutes here. And we'll find out in the coming days sort of what his program will be for the Catholic Church.
Ann Thompson's got some insight here.
Yeah, you see in the picture before, there were some of the cardinals who were over the age of 80 gathering there. We saw Don Worrell, who is the former Archbishop of Washington, who is a cardinal, Sean O'Malley, who's the former Archbishop of Boston, who's also a cardinal. So I assume they're going to, the new Pope will come out shortly.
And again, these are cardinals who are not electors.
Right, they're over the age of 80. Yeah.
Lester, I was just thinking while we were looking at that pageantry, what an extraordinary historical comeback this represents. In 1870, when the Pope retired into the Vatican and called himself the prisoner of the Vatican, as the reunification of Italy ended the Papal States, a lot of very smart people in Europe thought the papacy is over. This is done as a force in world affairs. And we're, you know, a century and a half after that, and there is no election in the world that produces something quite like this.
George, yeah, let me ask you what is happening right now, what is likely happening right now beyond these doors?
I think they're probably getting closer to the cardinals, who will fill a lot of those spaces to the side of the central loggia, are walking up there. The new Pope is walking up there. And it shouldn't be that much longer before those doors open. And the usual pattern is to hang a banner over that front balcony. That'll be the first sign that things are really about to get moving.
Yeah, it's coming up at about 6:45 in the evening here in Rome. The white smoke first appeared at 6:07 local time, so about 2 hours after the start of the second session of the day. So they move very quickly in both sessions, the late and the early session. And now there was some surprise, and I think many will acknowledge surprise at seeing white smoke at this stage of the game. But nonetheless, that's what we saw. We heard the bells chiming across Rome, and now the color guards, the marching bands, waiting the first appearance of the new Pope.
And we are waiting for Cardinal Proto-Deacon Dominic Mamberti, who will announce those famous words, Habemus Papam. And then he will greet the crowd in Latin, and then he will read the birth name of the cardinal, the new Pope, in Latin, and then he will give us the name that cardinal will take as Pope, and that's always an electric moment.
Now, Francis, if I recall, immediately asked for prayers.
He did. He stood on the balcony, and he was uncomfortable for a few seconds. They always are because of this huge crowd. And then he said it seems like they had to go to the ends of the earth to find the Bishop of Rome. And he said, before I pray for you, pray for me. And he bent to the crowd.
Kind of set a tone.
He really did, and it's amazing. There was silence. People absolutely were silent, which is a rare thing in Rome. And it was a magical moment, and it did set the tone for the next 12 years.
So this is the process now. Is he officially the Pope, or is it after he acknowledges?
As soon as he says yes, he's the Pope. That's.
And he had the choice to say no.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And some have said no.
Again, there's the picture. There's the balcony. The balcony where the new Pope will appear. As we continue to watch for that moment, which should be drawing quite close, we want to bring into the conversation NBC News contributor Kathleen Sprouse Cummings, who is a professor of American Studies and History at Notre Dame. Professor, we appreciate you joining us. I think when I talked to you yesterday, I asked you if you were excited. I'm assuming that the answer is still yes.
The answer is still yes. When it comes to rituals, the Catholic Church is really beyond compare. What an amazing sight to behold. And the fact that the whole world is transfixed on this moment just gives such hope, I think, in the world and in the Church today in this Jubilee of Hope. It's so hard to wait to see who it is.
Is there I hate to keep making the comparisons to politics, but it's really all we have. Is there a honeymoon that a new Pope will endure?
Thinking back to March 2013, Pope Francis so immediately, as Anne said just a moment ago, in that gesture and in others, signaled that it was a different kind of papacy. It's such a different style. So it remains to be seen what the new Pope will do. But yes, I think at this moment you can see this. There's so much goodwill, and the fact that the cardinals reached a consensus so much quicker than many people thought they would have done. It's really a sign that there is a lot of momentum and a lot of support, and that people are ready to support this new Pope. So I don't think of it so much as a honeymoon as just a good start, a start for a leader who is going to be facing a great number of challenges. But to see the unity right now is really inspiring.
What do you expect to see from world leaders in terms of how they engage? We are obviously facing a lot of world issues, war on various fronts. The Pope always seemed as a bit of a moral authority. Would you expect world leaders to begin reaching out almost immediately?
Absolutely. I think Pope Francis had such credible moral authority in a world where so few world leaders did have that authority. It's a complex time, globally speaking. Will the new Pope have the global sensibilities to deal with these challenges and to interact with world leaders? Certainly every indication is that is so. So I expect world leaders to be also watching right at this moment, too. They'll be as excited as everybody else.
Yeah, we're operating a little bit in the dark. Obviously, it's a secret process, but there was so much conversation about this being a group not familiar with each other, a larger group. Did that possibly, in the end, work in the favor of getting down to business and discussing the issues that they could at least agree on mattered most?
I think it may well have done that. The cardinals were aware that the world was watching, and they didn't want to project disunity or disorganization. So I think they probably worked very hard to get to know each other. I think it's also true that in our digital age and with the great work of journalists, we actually know a lot about people that we might not have had the access to. So I think they would have been reading up on each other's profiles, as everybody has been doing. And I think in this connected world, it's a lot easier. So maybe we underestimated how well they knew each other.
Kathleen Sprouse Cummings, we appreciate you being along with our coverage here as we look at the huge crowds lining the streets now leading to St. Peter's Square. A remarkable moment. You could call this the main event, or maybe the main event was when the white smoke billowed over Rome. Nonetheless, there is huge anticipation now of the faithful and the curious who are ready to greet and see the new Pope. Let me go back down to Molly Hunter right now, who is in that crowd right now to give us a sense of the building excitement. Hello, Molly.
Lester, that's right. They're the faithful. They're the curious. There are Romans who live in this area. Everyone who heard those bells is here. And I actually want to introduce you to a couple from New York. Can you tell me your names again?
Nicole.
Brian. And Brian. You guys were not in the square when it happened. You heard those bells. You saw the notification. What'd you do?
We immediately came down here. We knew we wanted to be here for this monumental moment. Yeah. I mean, we were here on chance, and so we had to make it down here.
Well, and a lot of people here are are tourists, happened to be here, were curious, so they came by. But what does it feel like now that you're in the square with tens of thousands of people?
Oh, it's honestly surreal. I've never seen anything like this before. It's just truly amazing. We were here earlier. We did the pilgrimage, but it was black smoke in the morning. But to see the white smoke now, it's amazing.
Can you help me describe just the scene that we're seeing? We're seeing different flags flying. We're hearing so many different languages. Have you ever seen anything like this? Can you describe what it feels like to be here?
It feels like Times Square on New Year's. But the amount of people that come from all sorts of different countries to just see this amazing moment, it's truly surreal. You see all the flags. It's a really beautiful moment.
Yeah. So you guys are going to stay now. Now that you're in the square,
Yes,
you're going to stay to see who the next pope is.
Yes.
Do you have any kind of feelings about what direction you're hoping it's going to go, or now that you're here?
I'm just excited to see who it is. I mean, it was a quick conclave, so whatever decision is made, I'm sure it's the best one, and it's going to be exciting to see.
Yeah, I'm sure the Cardinals do their due diligence, and I'm sure the next pope will be a great pope.
Guys, I really appreciate you
Thank
talking
you.
and enjoy this.
Thank you.
Truly extraordinary moment, Lester. We've actually just lost communication again. I'm going to send it back up to you. But we will go deeper in the crowd to find some more people to bring their viewpoints to you.
All right, sounds good. I want to go back to Joe Donnelly, former U.S. ambassador to the Holy See. Ambassador, we were speaking a moment about, terms of a honeymoon and what a new pope can accomplish in a short time. Is there pressure to tick off certain things on the list right out of the gate?
Well, I don't think they have to tick off certain things because there's so much of a wave of goodwill right now. And this pope will be the universal moral leader. You can't think of anybody else that will have the universal moral power that the new pope will have. And so they have incredible goodwill, and they do have a honeymoon and some time to do all of these things. And so they can make an incredible difference immediately.
Ambassador, just getting word that this election was on the fourth ballot, that the new pope again was selected on the fourth ballot. Does that surprise you?
I thought it might be today, and I think that all the new members wanted to make sure that they fulfill their duty. They take it so seriously, and they felt confident in this person. It was a confidence earned very quickly. It's going to be amazing to watch, but whoever it is obviously impressed the Cardinals very, very significantly, because I thought it might be the last vote today or tomorrow. So this is a little bit earlier than I thought.
Yeah, I want to pick up what you were saying about the moral authority of the church right now and this moment. Is the world more in need than ever of this person and the potential of this person?
Lester, it really is. People are looking for hope, are looking for an opportunity to make the world better. I was at the G7 last June in southern Italy, and various world leaders came in, and everybody just kind of politely applauded. Pope Francis walked in, and everybody stood up. And it was clear he was the rock star of the whole event. And so I think that's being transferred to the new pope, that there's a desire from all corners of the planet to hope for success.
And I think you'll agree that we can't diminish some of the specific problems that the church itself is facing, the ongoing abuse crisis, a huge deficit, and other issues. How important do you think it was that this will be someone who has administrative skills?
It's really important because of the challenges you indicated, the sexual abuse crisis, the management of the Vatican. They have to show moral leadership on these things as well. And when they do, confidence comes back. Confidence, for instance, in the United States in the church comes back when the sexual abuse crisis is handled well, is handled in a better way than it has been. And so, and people are giving this new pope the chance to do that.
Ambassador, I'll ask you to stand by. I just want to set the scene for people who may be tuning in. You probably don't need me to say it because the pictures really speak volumes. There is a new pope. We are about to meet him. We are about to learn his name as pontiff, and this crowd will be able to finally find out who is going to lead the Catholic Church from this point going forward. It was an emotional, a magical moment as crowds were in the square when the white smoke appeared. The juxtaposition of ancient times, this process, the secret process inside the Sistine Chapel, at the same time, the chimney being viewed by thousands on the plaza or on the square on a television monitor, a big television monitor, as if it was a sporting event. So the two worlds coming together at this moment. You're hearing the sound of helicopters likely running security over us. And we saw, of course, the smoke and the bells that rang across Rome, signifying a new pope. And we learned just a short time ago he was elected on the 4th ballot. George, what's the significance of that? I'll ask the same thing to Ann.
I think it suggests that a consensus was quickly reached, that whoever got a large vote last night built that vote up over the next 2 or 3 ballots. I do want to touch, Lester, on this question of management. It's not simply a question of the Pope being a good manager himself, although that really helps. He has to know how to pick people. He has to know how to choose men and women of competence and probity in running a very complex bureaucracy here and in fixing this financial problem. That does not require finding clerics necessarily. Might require finding a lot of good lay people who know how to manage money and who know how to be stewards of money in an open and transparent way.
And one of the things that half the population will be watching for, Lester, is does this Pope continue the efforts of Pope Francis to make women leaders in the Curia? He has done that